Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvayeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Kujantam Rama Rameti Maduram Maduraksharam Aruhya Kavitam Shakham Vande Valmiki Kokilam Valmikir Munisimhasya Kavitavanacharinaha Shrunvan Ramakatanatam Konayanti Param Gatim Veda Vede Pare Pumsi Jate Dasharatatmaje Veda Prachetadasit Sakshad Ramayanatmanam Anjana Nandanam Viram Janaki Shokanashanam Kapishamakshamakhantaram Vande Lankabayankaram Manojavam Marutatulyavegam Jitendriyam Buddhimadam Varishtam Vatatmajam Vanarayurdhamukyam Sri Ramadutam Shirasa Namami Anjaneya Matipatpatalanam Kanchanadrikamaniya Vigraham Parijata Tarumula Vasinam Bhavayami Bhavamanandanam Yatra Yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam Tatra Tatra Kritamastakанчалим Bashpavari Paripurna Lochanam Marutim Namata Rakshasantakam. So this last sloka which I just mentioned, Yatra Yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam, where always eternally there is glorification of the holy names of Raghunandana, Ayodhya Nandana, Dasaratha Nandana, who is none other than Lord Ramchandra. Yatra Yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam, Raghunatha, the supreme living king of the Raghu dynasty, Raghuvamsh ke Kulnath, none other than Lord Ramchandra. Wherever his glories are sung, Tatra Tatra Kridamastak immediately there is a personality. Whenever he sings these glories, Hridamastak his heart becomes melted due to the wonderful mellows of Lord Ramchandra and his devotion. At the same time, his head naturally bows down and his hands come together to form an Anjali, the greatest way of providing obeisances towards the Lord. Bashpavari Paripurna Lochanam. What's the next thing that happens to that personality? That personality has tears coming from both of his eyes and they roll down, those hot tears roll down on his cheeks. Bashpavari Paripurna. Paripurna means full. It's not that one side trickle on the corner of the eye, there is a tear flowing down. In fact, the eyes actually are filled with tears as if it's like rain, incessantly like rain. Even in Shikshashtakam, we do learn this beautiful verse where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is crying again and again, and he's looking out for the love of Godhead. And we hear in that Shikshashtakam sloka that how that Yugaitam Nimeshena Chakshushar Pravashaitam. So that sloka where tears are flowing down like incessant form of rain. So in that way, this personality is actually flowing tears. Bashpavari Paripurna Lochanam. Then Bhavayami Bhavama Nandanam. And he is in Bhava, he is relishing the mellows of Ramayana and he is always remembering the Lord and he is relishing it completely. Who is this personality? None other than Hanuman. So he actually gives us a very good glimpse of how we should read Ramayana or how we should hear Ramayana. Or when we hear the transcendental stories of Ramayana, what is the natural outcome? Srila Prabhupada always says there is Falena Parichayate. That means the fruit of the labor decides how the labor has been constructed, or how the labor which was put towards that effort has turned out to be. For example, in Bombay, there are many, many constructions that happen. Many years people construct a lot of civil infrastructure, but when the rains come, half of those buildings start to fall, and one by one they fall. So that actually indicates what kind of effort was put in when the foundations, when the buildings were constructed. Falena parichayate. If they didn't last the test of time, that means the effort that was put before has been completely lost. Similarly, when we read Ramayana, we are putting a lot of efforts to hear them, at the same time to read them. So, what should be our end goal? How should we feel? This is what is mentioned in this shloka. So, this is a very great insight, a ruler, a scale, a metric for us to know whether we are deeply loving the Shastras or not. Bhavayami Hridayanandanam. So, Bhavayami Bhavamanandanam. So, this is how we have to really relish the mellows. Of course, the speaker of such a great epic has to be great. I'm very sure that I am not that person. But Valmiki's message is great. Our Acharya's message is great. So if we repeat the same message of our Acharyas, though the speaker might be imperfect, but because the message is perfect, it has its own benefit. With that as the hope and with that as the scale of how we recite, let us continue our talk on this great epic called as Ramayana, where we see a beautiful verse which is going to come up in Ayodhya Kanda. But before we jump into Ayodhya Kanda, it is said that in Ramayana itself, there are seven kandas. We saw that in the introduction of Ramayana. What are those seven kandas? For those who have forgotten, because we have 9 lectures each. So, for those who have forgotten, the seven kandas were Bala Kanda, Ayodhya Kanda, Aranya Kanda, Kishkinda Kanda, Sundara Kanda, and the sixth one was Yuddha Kanda, and the seventh one was Uttarakanda. We started our Ramayana with Uttarkand. Many people do not like to start the Ramayana with Uttarkand because they feel that our story should end as Shubham. Our story should end as a nice picture, and it should not have an alternative endings. And generally the pastimes of disappearance of the Lord, the trials and tribulations that Mother Sita had to undergo, those are not described in Katha. Nevertheless, because of the chronological order, to understand the first shloka of Ramayana, we looked at Uttarakanda and many of those characters of characteristics of Lord Ramchandra, and we started with Uttarakanda. We covered Balakanda, and we came up to the last lecture, which was mentioning about Sita's marriage to Lord Ramchandra. We also tried to end Balakanda on a very high note, saying that the marriage between the great personalities, the supreme personality of Godhead, none other than Lord Ramchandra and Mother Sita, was a great marriage. Such a marriage could be described for many, many years to come, millions of years. In fact, it is said that even if Anand Shesh tries to describe the opulence of that marriage, it is very difficult to really speak about the glories of the marriage between Rama and Sita. One other thing that is generally said in the Shastras is that one should not leave anything behind, whether you are considering having prasadam, whatever is there on the plate, you should finish it off fully. Similarly, for a Kshatriya, one of the rules is that whatever enemies or whomever enemies that you battle with, you need to ensure that you complete your battle and you need not leave even one person. It is called as, in the computer language we call it as star dot star. That means that all files in your computer, anything with whatever name star dot whatever extension that you have star, so star dot star, if you shift delete, all the files go away. Don't try this at home. It is a just a saying in the computer language that we see that everything has to be deleted or everything has to be exterminated. Similarly, For a Kshatriya, it is a general notion that when he enters the battlefield, it is his duty that whoever he is his enemy, everybody has to be conquered upon. But Lord Ramchandra has one quality. He generally keeps something left, like we saw in Vishwamitra's protection of the yajna, if you all remember. I hope you remember. I say that I said this in the lecture, but I hope you remember. If not, you can go back to the YouTube videos and look at the place. So in the Vishwamitra's yajna, Lord Ramchandra, he killed one person who was none other than Subahu, but he left Maricha because he took the holy name of the Lord. Similarly, in the next Aranya Kanda, we will see when Khara and Dushana fight with their Janasthana with their 24,000 armies when they come, or and when they try to fight, there is one person that Lord Ramchandra leaves, and is called Akampana. So all these characteristics see that the Lord Ramchandra always leaves something behind. Similarly, we are followers of Lord Ramchandra because we wanted to finish something very beautifully in Bala Kanda. We also left out a small portion of Bala Kanda. And without speaking about that, it is imperfect for us to say that we finished Bala Kanda. So technically, we are supposed to start Ayodhya Kand, but we will finish that small portion, and that portion is nothing but what happened immediately after the marriage. Like in a storytelling, when the marriage happens, afterwards, immediately the end comes. But here, Ramayana is going to begin, the Ayodhya Kanda is going to begin. But before the end, there is a small climax. And let's look at that climax. And everybody knows, because you are all avid readers and avid scrutinizers of Ramayana, there was a great personality called Parashuram's entry into the place. And hence, I had chosen this particular day to take this lecture because tomorrow is also Parashuram Jayanti. The day of Akshaya Tritiya is the day when Lord Parashuram appears. So it's only a great notion that if we actually internalize all these avatars of the Lord, the Dasha avatar of the Lord, Parashuram is one of them. And Jayadev Ashtapati gives a very beautiful narration of Bhrigupati Rupa. So one who is actually Bhrigupati, and one who is the wielder of the axe. And he is called as Bhargava Rama because if somebody said Rama, and if in the assembly of Vaikunta, two people will raise their hands. Dasaratha Nandan Ram will raise their hands, and Parashuram will raise their hands. So before that, they have to put an initial P Rama, which is, or B Rama, Bhargava Rama, or P Rama, that is Parashuram. Then only one person's attendance will be clicked. So Parashuram and Dasharatha Ram are both named as Rama, but one came before the other. So we know the Dashavatars, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narsimha, Vamana, Parashurama, Sri Rama. So after Parashuram, Sri Ram actually took the Avatara. So we will see about his arrival into the marriage place. So the scene goes back to the beautiful marriage of Mother Sita and Lord Ramchandra. Both are receiving gifts from the many sages, taking blessings from many sages. At that time, opportune moment, Dasharatha actually calls his chief priest, who is none other than Vashishta. And he says, let us prepare to take our daughter-in-law, who is goddess of fortune herself, Mother Sita, one who is so beautiful. Let us take her to Ayodhya and let us start now. And when he starts stepping outside the Mithila kingdom or the palace of Mithila, outside Janakpuri, he observes that certain birds start to screech. They start to make a very bad noise, and the birds are screeching in nature. And at the same time, he sees that a deer is running from left to right. Now you might be thinking, why is Prabhu saying all these things? Because in the Vedic astrology, there are two aspects that we should know. Generally, in Kali Yuga, to find this is very difficult. But back in those days, in Vedic astrology, there were two things called as Shakunam and Nimittam. So this we use generally in our day-to-day life as well. For example, when we get the marriage patrika, we immediately ask Shagun kab hai, or we ask when is the Shagun. So we generally mean that Shagun is what is a good time. When is a good time. So, but ideally in Vedic astrology, their meanings are a little different. Shagun or Shaku. Shaku is called as bird in Sanskrit. That's why in Kalidasa's work, we see that Dushyant's daughter, that is Shakuntala, because she was there in the forest and lot of shaku birds, shaku are none other than peacocks, when they came and gave her a shadow on top of her, she was called as Shakuntala. Shakuntala, tala means on the shadow. They gave protection to the baby, hence her name became Shakuntala. So shaku means bird. So whenever birds communicate, watching what the birds communicate, that is called a shagun. Generally based on their communication, if they are sweetly melodiously singing, that means good times are going to come. That's why in the old Sanskrit textbooks, or even in our Krishna book, if you read Srila Prabhupada mentioning the arrival of spring, or that great season that Prabhupada mentions, there is one full chapter of how the seasons change. And there, if you read those scriptures, you will read that how the birds were singing melodiously, what were they saying. Similarly, there is also another mention in Srimad Bhagavatam, when Krishna wakes up from his bed, the first thing he looks out of his window, there is a small window, and at the first time what happens, a sparrow or a small bird comes and starts tweeting and telling him all the stories that happened last night. It's like a news feed. It's like the social media. Vrinda Devi puts all those social medias in front of Krishna and says, "This is what happened." And he starts to talk with the bird. So these are very melodious talks. So there are times when the birds speak out, then there is a great science of involvement where the sages have studied in depth to understand what the birds speak, and whether it's a good omen or a bad omen, whether it's a good time or a bad time. This is actually found out by this Shastra called as Shakun Shastra. Then there is something called as Nimitta or instrumental, generally it is called as. So, what is Nimitta? Just to understand very simply, whatever is not Shagun is all Nimitta, because there are other animals also. There is a bear, there is a tiger, there is a lion, there is many other instruments, many other living entities which can also indicate. Sometimes a black cat crosses the road, a red cat crosses the road. We have heard so many things about it. It is not good for us. It is not a good thing to see. But there are certain ways to understand this. So nimitta means whatever except the birds, all other animals communicate. In this place, in Ayodhya, in Bala Kanda, Dasaratha is actually seeing the birds are screeching, and there was a deer which was acting as the nimitta, because it's not a bird, it's an animal. It was moving from left to right. Immediately, he knew the Shastra. The kings were adept in those knowledges, but still he wanted to consult. Now, this is a great learning. We might have a lot of knowledge and we might be the king of that knowledge, but still we should not forget to take guidance. Taking guidance from elders, even in matters which are trivial or we think that we know, is actually a signs of progress. In fact, Arjuna says in Bhagavad Gita very clearly in the first chapter itself that I cannot kill these people because they are elders. And when if elders are lost, then we will lose the whole kula, and we will lose the entire traditions. And if traditions are lost, then the society goes into an anarchy, and then there is an entire downfall of of the social system, and the dharma of that family is completely lost. So elders are most important. In fact, even Bhishma says in Srimad Bhagavatam that out of the people who needs to be protected, the people who need to be protected are mother cow, children, women, old age people. So he counts old age people as one of the key elemental institutions of knowledge, and who pass on this very signs to others. If they are not there, if they don't tell us tomorrow is Akshaya Tritiya, tomorrow this and this happened, if they don't tell us the stories what our grandfathers and grandmothers have told them, if they don't tell us the shlokas, what to say the shloka before you go to sleep, what is the shloka when you wake up you should say, if they don't tell us, how is that the next generation will know? So it's very important to take care of elders. Why? Because they are the people who can guide us. And hence, it is very important for us that even if elders are there and even if we know the signs, we should still go and ask with a humble opinion what is the right way to do. So here, Dasharatha also asks Vashishta, what do you think? I feel that there is a great bad omen because these birds are screeching. And at the same time, I see a deer is moving this way. Vashishta said, yes, Dasharatha, you are absolutely right. You are very good in your studies, and I knew that you will get to know. Because the birds screeched, you are going to get a bad omen. There is something difficult which is going to come your way and in the way of Lord Ramchandra and Mother Sita. But because you saw a deer also cross from left to right, it is generally considered as a good omen because the deer is very swift in its walking. So, whatever difficulty you are going to get at this point of time, it will go away very, very swiftly. So, the difficulty will come to you, but it will go away very swiftly. So, while he said that, they took two steps outside the palace steps. They were about to yoke into the chariot. The horses were yoked and they were about to go out. At that time, as he immediately said, because the birds screeched, at a distance, Valmiki says, the trees started rumbling and the earth started to shake. And there was a big whirlwind which was coming, which is of a dust, which was immediately coming from a long, long distance. And everybody were looking at that sign and they were all stepping back. Valmiki uses a very beautiful verse where he mentions that at that scene, looking at the whirlwind, everything was stunned except four personalities: Vashishta, Dasharatha, Mother Sita, Lakshmana, and Lord Ramchandra himself. So, five personalities were totally animate. That means they were living and they were looking at at the sight. Vashishta was thinking, now what will happen? Dasharatha was worried. Rama was smiling. Mother Sita, she was looking at Ramchandra and saying, now what will my husband do? It has just been moments that I am married. Lakshmana was ready to fight because generally he is ready that if something comes to my brother, I will be the first person to jump into the foray and I will protect him. The whirlwind started to come, the dust started arising, the birds which were screeching before started to flutter here and there, and the steps were heard, and the thuds on the big thuds that is created on the earth that got heard. And when the dust settled up a little bit, Valmiki says the beautiful sloka. Dadarsham Bhisma Shankasham Jatamandaladharinam Bhargavam Jamadakramyam Raja Rajamavinmadam Kailasamam Vimdurdarsham Kalagramiva Dussaham Jwalantamiva Tejobhi Durnirsham Pratagjanaihi. So Dadarsham Bhima Sankasham. Dadarsham means he saw Bhima Sankasham, one coming with a great thought that something has to be achieved right now. And whom did they say? Jatamandala Dharinam, one who has got his hair tied up like dreaded locks of Jata. And what was there on his right hand? On his right hand was an axe, on his left hand was a bow, and he had quivers of arrow in his quivers on the back, and he had a rage on his face. It was reddish face, and he was coming with a lot of anger. And who was he? He was the son of Jamdagni, none other than Parashuram. And when Valmiki says, when he started walking, people, some of them started paying obeisances then and there. Some of the kings, They thought that this was a greatest mistake that we came for this Swayamvar. They couldn't run here skelter because the son of Jamadagni, Parashuram, was known to kill the Kshatriyas. For 21 generations, he killed the Kshatriyas because Kartavirya Arjuna killed his father Jamadagni. So, because of this particular reason, the Kshatriyas started fearing, but they could not run because Valmiki says, looking at that site, everyone else was inanimate. That means, imagine the scene when Parashuram was walking, everything froze. The children sometimes play in the alleys, statue. Now, what does statue means? That you cannot move. You have to stand in a particular way, and still the person says not statue. Then till that time, that person cannot move. In United States and in America, they call this game as freeze. So when you actually say freeze, you have to just stand at that position. You can only breathe, but you cannot move your limbs. But that is out of a play. But this is natural looking at Parashuram. That means people just froze at that place. But only Dasaratha and others were looking at Parashuram, and Parashuram was striding forward. Some people who paid obeisances stayed paying obeisances. The sages immediately started speaking, murmuring to each other just by eye gestures. The first sage spoke. What do you think? Is he going to kill Rama now? Because he's the one who is the annihilator of 21 generations of Kshatriyas. Our king Dasharatha, he has been marrying every year. He's having 365 wives. He's having 350 wives, 345 or 350 wives. Because Parashuram had given a boon that any Kshatriya who is celebrating his first marriage anniversary, I will not kill. So Dasharatha used to marry every year so that his first marriage anniversary will come. So now Dasharatha is not going to marry. Now Rama, his son, has married. So is he going to show the wrath on Rama? Like that one sage asked. The other sage said, looks like what Vishwamitra said on that day when Vashishta told to Vishwamitra that Vishwamitra, you have come to the wrong place because this is the address of D Rama, Dasharatha Rama. But you are asking for somebody to fight with the demons, and that is the perfect person for that retinue, and that CV is none other than Parashurama. Seems like Vishwamitra has sent this person. So everybody started looking at Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra was also looking straightly at Parashuram because they both know each other very well. So Parashuram immediately came, and when he stepped forward, Lakshmana also took a step forward and he stood in between Lord Rama's chariot, but still behind Dasharatha. Vashishta also was looking at Parashuram and he said, all obeisances unto you, Bhargava Rama. Thank you for coming here. I hope that you have come here for blessings. So this is a very nice way of Vashishta putting sattwicness into the scene where the anger is boiling, but he is actually giving the most beautiful verses and he's saying, I hope you are here because you are here to cool down the situation. So Vashishta says, welcome. But immediately Parashuram is fully angry. He says, I have heard about your exploits, O Rama. Rama looks at him. What is the exploits that you have heard? And he says, I have heard that you have killed the demoness named Tataka, and how you killed her with one single arrow. I have heard about it. But more recently, I heard the breaking of the great bow of Tripurari. Tripura was the normal city of Tripura, the three cities. The one who won over the three cities, Tripurari, is none other than Lord Shiva. And we all know the pastime that this bow which Ramchandra broke for the Swayamvara, which was known as the Veera Shulka, that means to the fee for getting the hand of Mother Sita, is none other than breaking of the Mahesha Chapa bow, the great bow of Lord Shiva. So Parashuram is referring to that Shiv Dhanush, that Mahesha Chapa, and he's saying that more than you killing Tataka, I actually heard that you broke the great bow of Lord Shiva. Now that I cannot tolerate because this bow has been given even in through my entire ancestry. And he mentions how it was given. When the fight happened or when the fight was scheduled, what is this fight about? Let's go into a brief history which Valmiki gives. Brahma was sitting and doing his meditation at Satyaloka. Many people started talking to each other. In fact, in a Twitter feed, in a WhatsApp group between the demigods, they started speaking. Who is greater according to you? Is it Lord Shiva? Some people said, no, no, I think it is Lord Vishnu. So, this particular topic is going on from time immemorial. And for the benefit, they talk about these both incidents, these two personalities, because they are the most famous personalities. So some people said it has to be definitely Lord Shiva because he is the one who won over the three citadels in Tripura, hence he is called as Tripurari. The other section, which was supporting Lord Vishnu, they said, look, I think you are right. But do you know, when he took out his bow and he wanted to shoot the last arrow, which actually gave him the victory, that arrow was of Vishnu. So Vishnu was sitting on that arrow, and because of which he won. So there was an entire conversation between the two factions of Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu devotees, and they all reached Brahma. Now, Brahma thought somehow or the other I have to deflate this discussion, and I have to ensure that there is a good amount of understanding that Krishna or Narayan is a supreme personality of Godhead. So he started writing a drama script where this entire drama will be played by all the characters. He went and spoke to Lord Shiva, and he said some faction is speaking like this, that it is Lord Vishnu who was on the tip of the arrow who actually broke down the citadels. Shiva, understanding that he is none other than the greatest devotee of the Lord, whereas in the Bhagavatam also the shloka is says Nimnaganam yata Ganga Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. Just like Mother Ganges is greatest of all rivers, similarly the greatest of all the Vaishnava devotees are none other than Lord Shiva. Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. Similarly, the greatest of the literature is none other than Srimad Bhagavatam. So in that sloka also, so Shiva knows he has to glorify his master, his supreme master. And he also plays the part very beautifully. He says, how do you say so, Brahma? Have you started talking like Narada? He doesn't come here often nowadays. So this is a drama script which Brahma is writing. Very beautiful. In fact, I wish that sometime we should depict this drama in with our Cheetah Camp devotees. They are very good at playing these dramas. So we should show this drama which Brahma himself wrote. So in that way, a great war was spoken, and Lord Shiva said, I will show him who is great at war. Vishnu also said, okay, I will also sportingly come for war. And they both assembled together to fight with each other. Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu were ready to fight. So generally, if you see fights, you're not supposed to see fights, but generally, if you have seen fights before, what the wrestlers do before they come in, they start tapping their arms. Similarly, Lord Vishnu also tapped his arms and he exhaled himself with a hum. He did that. And when he did a hum, that created a sonic boom. And that sonic boom created a crack in that bow, which Lord Shiva was saying, this is the bow by which I have won Tripura. So the bow broke, the fight never happened, everything got dispersed, people got the conclusion. So now that the bow had broken, Lord Shiva wanted to give this bow to someone, so he gave to a person called as Devrat. And that Devrat gave to a person who is none other than his son, who is Richika. And if you remember the pastime of sage Vishwamitra, the Richika is the person who kept the two pots and gave to two, Satyavati and his mother. And they exchanged the pots, because of which one person was Vishwamitra. The other person, Richika and Satyavati's son, was Jamadagni. And Jamadagni's son was Parashuram. So that's why Vishwamitra and Parashuram, when they looked at each other, because they are relatives, they do know each other. So Richika gave this bow to Jamdagni, and Jamdagni gave to Parashuram himself. So Parashuram was very attached to the bow, because I wielded that bow also. My father wielded that bow, which came from Lord Shiva. So how can you break it? So like that, he spoke to Ramachandra. And when he spoke to Ramachandra, in Tulsidas Ramayana, we have to take this a small deviation, because some Ramayans give certain concepts of this pastime in a very beautiful way. At that time, Lakshmana spoke. He said that, what is so bothering you? My elder brother, he breaks many bows when he was small. He's now they are only 12 years of age, but still they are saying when they were small, they broke many bows. And you yourself are saying that there has a crack on it. So what is a big deal? If there was a broken bow, he broke it further. Now, when Lakshmana, who is the youngest in the crowd, is actually speaking like that, the Bhargava Rama, Parashuram got really wild and he said, tell this person to keep quiet, otherwise, I will ensure that my axe will still see blood. Lakshmana says, I have seen such so many people speak about such things. Then Bhargava Rama, he actually, the Parashuram, he gets very angry. At that moment, Dasaratha falls at his feet and he says, I would like to offer my Sharanagati. I will like to take the abhens at your lotus feet. And this is what he says, Parashuram to he says, Eva muktva dharmadhaya bhargavam bhima darshanam ऋषयो राम रामेति मधुरं वाक्यमब्रुवन् शत्ररोषात् प्रशास्तत्वं ब्राह्मणश्च महातपाः बालानां मम पुत्राणां भयं दातुम् अर्हसि बालानां मम पुत्राणां. So this is the first time Dasharatha is offering his obeisances and he is doing Sharanagati, that is, he is doing surrender unto Parashuram. But Ramayan, this is the third time Sharanagati is happening. The first time that Sharanagati happened was when the demigods went to the Shirabdi and spoke to Lord Brahma and said that the demons are troubling us. Why don't you please come and annihilate the demons? When Lord Ramchandra said, I will become the son of Mother Kaushalya and the father Dasharat Nandan. That is the first surrender that happens. Second, in Bala Kanda, there comes a story of Sushanepa when he offers Sharanagati to the deities and the deities offer him Sharanagati. This is the third time that the Sharanagati happens, which is Dasharatha paying his obeisances and surrendering himself to um, Parashuram. But this time, the Sharanagati does not work. Why? It is not that the Sharanagati does not work. The Sharanagati has to be, or the surrender has to be done to the right person at the right time to the right place. So here the place was right, the time was right, but the person was wrong because there was Lord Ramchandra there also. So many people ask me this question. In fact, some of you had asked me this question last time around. How is that two avatars are appearing together? So we know in Dashavatar, Lord Rama is also there, Parashurama is also there. How come these two are appearing together? Aren't they not supposed to appear together? Because Avatar means one finishes and other starts, right? So how is it that they are appearing together? So we'll see that part of the story also. So the Lord, whenever he comes down to this earth, he is called as Avatar. He is called as he's coming down. But when he comes down, he sometimes comes down as himself. So Lord Ramchandra's avatar is considered as Purna avatar. That is, he comes down as himself. Krishna also comes down as himself. But there are some avatars which are called as Swarupa avatars, where one quality in particular is empowered and only that quality is showcased. In this case, Parashuram's was a Swarupa avatar where the anger as a quality of the Lord was exemplified. Then there is a third kind of an avatar where a jiva is chosen and he is empowered, which is called as Satyavakesh avatar. The best examples where Srila Prabhupada mentions is he himself is a Satyavakesh avatar, where he is empowered to ensure that the Krishna consciousness movement is spreaded far and wide. The other example he gives is Jesus Christ as well in other scriptures, that he is a Satyavakesh avatar where he empowers a particular person for a cause of mercy. But the other example that we hear is none other than Parashuram. So not Parashuram, sorry, Kartavirya Arjuna. So Kartavirya Arjuna, he is also there, who is also known as an example of Satyavakesh avatar. Now, there is a side story of this Kartavirya Arjuna. This Kartavirya Arjuna had 1,000 arms and he was expert in doing meditation. And there is a connection between Kartavirya Arjuna and Ravana. Ravana, once while he was traveling over India, he wanted to do his Gayatri. So he parked his Pushpak Viman He got down near Narmada, and there was no river flowing at that time, only small sprinkles of water was there. So he went into the center of the riverbed of Narmada. He took some water and wanted to give it as Arghya because he was a Brahmana also. So Ravana wanted to do his Sandhya Vandan. He wanted to do the Gayatri Japa. And when he wanted to do that, he ensured that he is doing it properly at the riverbed. But there was no water flowing. So he thought that it's a dry riverbed. But actually, if you went upstream, there was Kartavirya Arjuna who was doing a meditation. And with his 1,000 hands, he had stopped the flow of water. That was his prowess. With his hands, he could stop the flow of water. And with 1,000 hands, he had created a hand dam by which Narmada could not flow. And when Ravana came right in the center of the riverbed where it was dry, immediately Kartavirya Arjuna lifted all his 1,000 hands and Narmada started flowing. And when she started flowing, she flooded Ravana, she made him sink into Narmada's river, and Kartavirya Arjuna was laughing looking at the side. Because back in those times, in the papers, Ravana was celebrated as one of the greatest enemies or the greatest asuras. And hence Kartavirya wanted to see how much is his prowess. Ravana also came out with his 10 heads and he said, seems like you are very arrogant. Let's have a fight. So they both started fighting. Kartavirya Arjuna and Ravana, they both started fighting. So much so that Kartavirya Arjuna in fact gave a tight slap to Ravana, and when he gave a slap, he picked him up as if a small insect and he took him home. And on top of his baby's cradle, generally, when the babies actually create a lot of noise, there is a rattler that you will use. You will use that rattle, and that baby will look here and there because it gets bewildered by the rattling sound and the colors and the different sound, and it gets attracted towards that sound. So that rattler was none other than Ravana. So his 10 heads were rattling whenever he used to shake, and when he used to shake, he tied him up against his baby's cradle for 6 months. And finally, Ravana said, please let me go. Why I'm telling this story is, if you actually keep Ravana, who is none other than a Jivatma, who at this point of time is actually a demon who is acting incorrectly. So he was won over by the Satyavakesh avatar who is Kartavirya Arjuna, but he also had a different mentality. But he was won over by the Swarupa avatar who is none other than Parshuram. And here is Parshuram meeting the Purna avatar, Lord Ramchandra. And so the lineage, the lines, if you draw, it is like Rama is greater than Parashuram, who is greater than um, Rama is greater than Parashuram. Parashuram is greater than Kartavirya Arjuna, who is greater than Ravana. So that means Rama is already vanquished Ravana. So how did he vanquish? That's when Parashurama says, so if you think that you are actually very great, O Rama, I have this Vishnu bow with me. Why don't you wield this bow? Because this bow, I can understand that you would have bow is you could have wielded this bow, that this is a Vishnu bow, and this Vishnu bow, if you actually wield it, then it is interesting to see how you do it. So Rama picks up the bow and he does the pratyancha of this, and when he does this particular pratyancha on the Vishnu bow, then what happens is something wonderful. Rama asks a very beautiful question. The beautiful question that he asks is that I generally, when I pick up a bow and an arrow, I choose a target. And now, because you are Bhargava Rama and you have been a Brahmana also, so killing is not something that is suitable. But still, if you are walking in the path of adharma, I will have to kill. But you tell me, I will have now bowed the string to this Vishnu bow. Where should I put this arrow? Then Parashuram says, why don't you shoot this arrow to all the positive deeds that I have accumulated while doing my penances? Now, the reason why he says that is, it's a clear instruction that in Krishna consciousness, good and bad both are hindrances to go back home, back to Godhead. So, In other words, he is indicating that my role has come to an end, and hence you have to take over now. So Lord Ramchandra also understands he is the Purna Avatar. He's fully resplendent supreme personality of Godhead, and he also wants to send Parashuram back. And he says, "Okay, fine, I will take that." And he shoots the arrow towards his penances, by which Parashuram's entire anger gets solved. Now, at many quarters, Srila Prabhupada also mentions that Parashuram is Satyavakesh avatar. Generally, I did a research on this, and it is found out in examples while it says in the Sri Sampradayas, they mention that Kartavirya Arjuna as Satyavakesh and Parashuram as Swarupa Avkesh avatars. So we can do further research and we can find out, because Prabhupada also mentions somewhere he's a Satyavakesh avatar. Prabhupada mentions Jesus Christ also as Satyavakesh avatar. So those finer details do exist. And those are some of the small differences that you will find between Sampradayas. But largely, in fact, the greatest poet, Vedanta Deshika, very beautifully says that because Parashuram won over Kartavirya Arjuna and Kartavirya Arjuna won over Ravana, it is natural to conclude that Rama has already won over Ravana at this instant. So the Bala Kanda actually ends with Parashurama being vanquished. But we should remember Parashuram as a great personality, not to ridicule him. And tomorrow because he is one of the Dasha avatars. And it was said that on the Akshaya Tritiya day is the day when Parashurama actually came to Jamdagni and his mother. And he was responsible. He was born as a Brahmana but took the Kshatriya, and he killed 21 generations to protect the Dharma. And he took all that blood and he poured it in Kurukshetra. So that's why the blood of Kurukshetra, the sands of Kurukshetra, is still toiled with reddishness, not only because of the blood which was flown due to the Kurukshetra war, but because the 21 generations of Kurukshetra war, 21 generations of Kshatriya's blood was poured in the sands of Kurukshetra by Parashuram. In fact, Parashuram kept on thinking, where should be the place that I should pour this entire set of buckets of blood? And he came to Kurukshetra and he saw a snake hole, and where there was a female snake living with a male snake, her husband. But when the husband went out, there was another snake which tried to come inside the snake's hole. And this female snake drove away the other male to say she's a chaste snake. And looking at that, Parashuram concluded that even this is a Punya Bhumi which protects the chastity of women, and it is a great place, and let me hence do my penances here. So Kurukshetra is such a place which has a connection to Lord Parashuram. Akshaya Tritiya is the day. So tomorrow is the day. So I thought that it is only befitting us to hear this pastime, because we are talking about Ramayana, and Parashuram himself arrives at this point, and hence Parashuram went away, and the Sharanagati was actually not successful because Lord Ramchandra himself, he is there to protect, and he protected. They both reached Ayodhya successfully with the Nimitta also cleared. When they reached Ayodhya, the palanquin, or the horses yoked with the palanquin, they started flowing. And when he saw that the beautiful palanquin moving into Ayodhya, their conversation started. The Ayodhya Vasis were looking at that palanquin coming in, and behind them was also the Janakpuri Vasis, because generally now they have become great families together. Mithila and Ayodhya have come together. So the Janakpuri Vasis also came. The Sita's maid servants also came, and they started speaking. So there was a transcendental competition between Ayodhya Vasis and Janakpuri Vasis. The Ayodhya Vasis were actually looking at Lord Ramchandra and telling to the Janakpuri Vasis, you know what? Our Ramchandra is really beautiful. You need at least 1,000 eyes to see Ramchandra once to admire his beauty. But the Janakpuri Nepal Vasis, they will not let go of Mother Sita. And they said, yeah, you are right. You are absolutely right. You need 1,000 eyes to see Lord Ramchandra and appreciate. But do you know what? When Ramchandra has to look at Mother Sita, every time he blinks, he needs 1,000 eyes to look at her beauty. So such was a transcendental competition talk between Janakpuri Vasis and Ayodhya Vasis. The Ayodhya Vasis were very happy, and when they were very happy that both the princes, along with Lakshmana and Urmila, Mandavi and Bharata, Shutakirti and Shatrughna, all of them came to the palaces of Ayodhya. They stayed together very wonderfully for the next 12 years. This is what Valmiki mentions, and there he completes Bala Kanda. So if you look at Bala Kanda, it is about predating Rama, talking about Valmiki's Charitra a little bit, talking about birth of Lord Ramchandra, talking about the naming ceremony of Lord Ramchandra, talking about Vishwamitra's arrival, talking about the Vishwamitra's protection of the Yajna, killing of Tataka, marriage of Sita, and finally arrival of Parashuram and living 12 years successfully. That means from the age of 0 to the age of 24 years, Valmiki has written 2600 shlokas. That means for 24 years of Ramchandra, he has written 600 shlokas. This is for 24 years. But now we start Ayodhya Kanda, which is only matters of 1 week. He has written nearly close to 7,000 verses. So look at this. 1 week of Charitra, he has written 7,000 verses. But for 24 years, he has written 2,600 shlokas. What does that mean? That means now we are entering into a Kanda. Now we are entering into Ayodhya, which will have peak of emotions, which will have peak of contrasts, which will have peak of rasas, which will have separation, and at the same point of time, meeting of great devotees. This meeting and separation, generally in our Gaudiya Vaishnava, the separation, the mood of separation is higher. In fact, these are the further smaller precepts that we get from the different sampradayas of Ramayana as well. Whereas the separation will be glorified in Aishwarya if you go in Sri Ramanuja Sampradaya, but in Gaudiya, you can relish that separation in a different way whenever that relishment comes to a lower level, like he meets Guha, he meets Bharata, he meets so many different rishis. So there is a devotee interaction without Aishwarya in place. And that is the mood of Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, where the Lord is seen a little bit greater than Aishwarya. Of course, it is there because we also worship the Lord as Lakshmi Narayan. But there are these beautiful places of worship where the Lord is stripped of his entire Aishwarya, though Mother Lakshmi is right there next to him to provide all the auspiciousness. But still, he comes across as a very common personality, mingling with everyone, because that is the Krishna we know. We do not know Krishna as the greatest person, the king of Dwarka. Yes, we do know him as, but he's known for the best of his rasas in Vrindavan. So with that, we will get to know this particular aspect, that how he maintained this entire Ayodhya Kanda. And the Ayodhya Kanda starts with a very beautiful shloka that Valmiki says that now Bharata and Shatrughna went to his maternal uncle's place. So that's how the conversation starts. We will not start that today. I just want to speak 2 to 3 more minutes on the importance of tomorrow, which is the Akshaya Tritiya day. Great day tomorrow. It is the day where all our ISKCON devotees and practicing devotees should see this day not as a day only to buy gold. That's how the materialists think about it, that this is the best place to start buying gold. So everybody is crazy about the gold prices and how much gold to purchase. But Shaya means ending. Akshaya means never ending. So this is the boon that, as per Vedic astrology, the sun and the moon, they both will be at their highest peak. Sun is responsible to give food because it provides the nourishment, and moon is responsible to give the 24 or the 6 or the 9 different tastes of the vegetables. So moon is important, sun is important, hence food is something that is resplendent because of these two personalities of sun and moon. And that is why sun god gives this Akshaya Patra to none other than Yudhishthira when Dhaumya the sage mentions to Yudhishthira that you please go and pray to sun god Vivaswan, and who will give you this Akshaya Patra to feed all the Brahmanas who are following you from your kingdom. So that's why the day Akshaya Patra, the Akshaya Patra, which was received by the Pandavas, it was also the day when Durvasa Muni visited the sages, and on that day Durvasa Muni ran away because he thought that Bhima is coming to actually beat them up because they didn't honor the prasadam, because Krishna already made their hunger satiated by tasting a small piece of food from the Akshaya Patra. This was also the day when Ganges came to Mother Planet Earth. We saw about the entire lineage of Mother Ganges. Akshaya Tritiya is also the day when Mother Lakshmi herself originated from the churning of the Sagara, the milk ocean. And Akshaya Tritiya is also the day when the gems and the Navaratnas came. Akshaya Tritiya is also the day when Annapurna, none other than Parvati, fed Lord Shiva the food from her plate. So it's also called as the appearance day of Annapurna Parvati. Hence you see that there is a lot of connection of food and prasada and related Akshaya Patra, but the real essence is that which is not ending. It's a great place to start spiritual things. If you want to start a spiritual activity, if you want to pick up a book and read it completely and get the maximum benefit out of it, it is called, you have to churn the Shastra. So if you have to churn the Shastra, you need a churning stick, and in Sanskrit the churning stick is called as Vishakha. So it's in the month of the Tritiya, the Vishakha month of Tritiya. Hence it's the churning stick where you churn and get the essence, and that essence is unending in nature. Hence it is the Akshaya Tritiya day. So on this day, since we are reading Ramayana, let us pray to Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman, and let's pray to Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan that they give us unlimited amount of their blessings, so that we can understand the depth of how Valmiki wants to say these pastimes, and we get the same benefit what Hanuman is saying. Bashpamana paripurna lochanam bhavayami bhavamanandanam. So let us hope that we will also one day cry for the mercy of Krishna, cry for the mercy of Lord Ramchandra and Mother Sita, and cry for the mercy by chanting out loud, because our chanting is nothing than the greatest prayer to cry for the mercy of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much for joining today. We have just started on the Ayodhya Kanda, but I wanted to just touch base on Akshaya Tritiya as well. So from tomorrow, we'll have two classes, one in the morning and one in the evening. I will send you out the Zoom links. It will start 11 a.m. in the morning, 11 to 12:30. We will continue with Ayodhya Kanda, and also in the evening, 8:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. we will continue on the beautiful Ayodhya Kanda. So I hope you all will join us again. Thank you for taking out your time. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Mangalam Kosalendraya Magniya Gunaptane Chakravarti Tanubhyaya Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam Srimate Raghuviraya Sedulla Sindhave Rajaya Nadiraya Mangalam. So anybody has any questions or comments, we can discuss. Hare Krishna.